consistent with having the strongest economy in the G7 and being an energy superpower. Thank you.
We'll have time.
And what I heard from the Prime Minister is that, I mean, it's up to us to find the proponent, I think. I think if there's some certainty that a process is going to be successful in a reasonable period of time, a 2-year window, I think that there will be a proponent that will step forward. My view would be that we'll have failed at the assignment if government has to build another pipeline. That will demonstrate to us that we didn't create the conditions for private investment to come to the table. So I'm encouraged that the Prime Minister is prepared to do a 2-track process. Let's identify a project and a window and work towards identifying the ways, some of the barriers that have been in the way of the current regulatory process, at the same time as working on fixing the regulatory process so that it makes future projects easier to approve. I think the reason we have to have a fast track is because we know that there are barriers. And so if we can kickstart it and have a dual track, I think that we may be able to achieve the outcome. We'll know in a couple of months' time, hopefully, whether this new approach is going to work, but I think it's worth giving it a try.
And all of that is true, there are very much indirect benefits because, as the Prime Minister said, the corridor, port to port, and then maybe to an Arctic port, a Grays Bay corridor, is significant for so many other projects. It would go in the vicinity of 2 hydroelectric facilities and allow us to actually start to advance additional power into industries that are creating wealth and creating jobs in northern parts of our provinces. We have, potash mines that are expanding and doubling production. The largest potash mine in the world is being constructed in our province as we speak. We are going to need more rail capacity for other products, agri-food products, which are the most sustainable in the world. Our potash, which we are going to produce more of and need to get it out to countries around the world through a Pacific port or an Atlantic port. And so as we move through this discussion, the opportunities around enhancing ports like Kitimat and Prince Rupert are, tremendously valuable, not just for the discussion around energy products and oil specifically, but much beyond that to hydroelectric power, empowering the industries that are creating wealth, additional port capacity for products that we may produce in Saskatchewan, but many other provinces as well. And so this is I would say, a generational opportunity. For us to achieve some of the aspirations the Prime Minister has put forward, but a generational opportunity for Canadians as well. And I really look forward to where these discussions go over the course of the next number of months.
Can I just jump in? Sorry, PJ, just to interrupt. I just want to put a fine point on what my colleagues have said here. It's a generational opportunity for Canadians, but it's also a generational opportunity for some of the poorest communities in our country. And if we have a window of opportunity to build up Canada and we can get more kids tied into an education, to a pathway to trades, to college, to university, if we can put the road and transmission and pipe infrastructure to build out those opportunities, this country is not just going to be better off in terms of the GDP growth. We're going to be better off in terms of making sure that every Canadian kid can reach their full potential in this great country.
Yeah, I was just going to add as well that what an incredible moment that we're in. You look across this beautiful and very strong country of Canada, and that nation building had happened all the way from the East Coast right to the West Coast, and that hasn't quite met up to the North as well. So I'm very thankful for the incredible leadership of Prime Minister Carney, who really recognizes that there's incredible opportunities and that we actually have solutions to bring. When we're looking at different corridors, access to critical minerals, access to create markets, whether it's to Asia or Europe, and to assert our sovereignty. You look to the north, and the infrastructure gap between north and south is something that I think we're all taking note, and that this is our moment as a country. We're unified around wanting to see us prosper and to become stronger to come out of it, and very much look forward to seeing actual infrastructure built to ensure that our communities are healthy, and that's how you best assert your sovereignty, is by how healthy your communities are.
We'll have time for one last question. Dernière question.
Phil Tank, Saskatoon Star Phoenix. I wanted to ask Premiers Moe and Smith whether they share Premier Ford's enthusiasm about this, this new, what seems to be like a new relationship with the federal government.
I can go, and yes, I think we do have an opportunity here, and as I spoke to some of the the generational opportunities that I think not just in the corridor that I spoke to specifically, but the conversation around really aspiring to a greater economic future. Than maybe what we've had in the last number of years. And Phil, we've been very much a growth-focused government here within the province of Saskatchewan. And I see some of that growth, a balanced focus on that growth nationally. And we applaud that. And we, as you know, the last number of weeks and months, I think it's fair to say that we as a government are putting forward our best foot to give every opportunity to work alongside the federal government, look to work alongside other provinces and other Canadians in order for us to achieve that. Because we support, in this province, we support the aspiration to grow our economy to lead the G7. And we want to be part of that, and we believe we can be a big part of that in Saskatchewan. We support the aspiration for Canada to become a global energy superpower, and that means we are going to have discussions, some of them, not all of them easy, but have the discussions about advancing all of the energy products that we have and all the natural resources essentially that we have in a sustainable way and in an inclusive way. We've always supported that, and we continue to support that today. And so I would say in the meetings that I've had, whether they be First Ministers meetings, Council of Federation meetings over the last 7.5 years, that today was a very positive meeting, and I hope that Canadians would feel very positive with their provincial, territorial, and federal leaders coming out of here today in agreement on that.
I would say I'm encouraged by the immediate change of tone that we've seen from recent months. I think that there's, when we hear the Prime Minister talking about being an energy superpower, we haven't heard that kind of language for some time on both conventional and clean power. And I think that the fact that we've quantified that we've got 1.8 trillion barrels of oil, bitumen, and about 165 billion barrels is recoverable at today's technology, even at $60 oil. That's a $9 trillion asset. And you simply wouldn't have a policy of leaving a $9 trillion asset in the ground when it can stand to benefit everyone. You have to address issues, of course, of Indigenous ownership and equity partnership. You have to address issues, of course, of emissions and other environmental issues. But that's what I heard, is how do we have an all of the above approach? And I think that's very encouraging. So we're willing to work with the federal government on addressing some of the issues that are going to stand in the way of creating the environment for private investment. It doesn't help you to build a pipeline to the West Coast if there's a tanker ban. It becomes difficult to expand your natural gas market if you've got net zero power regs that are requiring it to be phased out by 2035. And you can't expand production if you have an emissions cap. So those are future conversations to be had about how we create that environment. But I think what I heard was that the Prime Minister wants to work on a dual track to be able to find some compromises on all of those, and I'm encouraged by that.
I noticed there's language about net zero electricity.